5, 4, 3, 2.
Mwah, 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 mwah. It's your girl Sunshine coming at you. It is Tuesday. Yes, your girl is here with her friend, her friend from GEICO, who's no longer with GEICO, but he's doing his thing. His name is Alford, and I'll let you do the rest. Tell the people who you are. Tell them what you do.
Right now, I'm the co-host of the Alan and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. You know, I'm also the author of a new book I just released, Sweet Poompy, and Sell Your Little Heart Out. It's been out for a few years now, but I'm just blessed to be on the show and been in sales for over 20 years and retired from GEICO, thankfully, and enjoying life one day at a time.
Congratulations on that. When you told me you retired, I was like, what? Stop it. What made you retire from there? Because you was there for how long?
20 years and just shy of 6 months. So I love sales. I've been in sales just shy of, believe it or not, 30 years, 10 years before GEICO and 20 years with GEICO. So just shy of 30 years. And it was a great company to work for. And it was just, I did a lot in sales, achieved a lot. I was thankful for that. But it was time for me to go ahead and spend a little more time with the family. I have some other books that I have to kind of finish and write. So it was getting to that time in life where I felt as if it was the opportunity time for me to move on and do what God has called me and to finish a couple of books.
I hear you on that. When he says move, we move. I move fast, quick, and hurry. Like, okay, Lord, you said I could? Okay, just want to confirm. Okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I was out too. He was like, you can move now. Because before I'd be like, tell me why I'm still coming here, Lord. Tell me why. It's not time. Not time yet, daughter. Be patient. I'll be like, Lord, this place. Oh. But so I have your book.
All right. Yep. Sweet Poompy. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the autograph. I appreciate it. You know.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. And my son thanks you, and our whole family thanks for having us on, and definitely for your support on the book.
Oh, of course. Now, tell us why you wrote this book.
Well, Sweet Poompy was a book that I was thinking about writing for a couple of years, and my son kind of motivated me to write it, plus of a couple of other people, my wife, Tony Dungy, and it was one of those things that I always wanted to write a kid's book. I wanted to educate the youth on giving them something that was educational, but also fun to read. My son really loved, a book when he was a kid, and he kept reading it over and over again. So I wanted to have that same feeling with this book, Sweet Poompy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said Tony Dungy. Yes, there's pictures of him. We're going to post on our page. Yeah. But how well do you know him? Because there's pictures on your page of you and Tony.
Tony is actually a person who is the founder of All Pro Dad. And I get a chance to see him from time to time because he lives here in Tampa. I live in Brandon, not too far from Tampa. And he does a lot of great things in the community. So I get to see Tony a couple times a year. I follow him. And Tony is a guy that is a person that inspires me in a lot of ways. And one way that he inspired me is to be an All-Pro Dad. I'm part of his foundation, All-Pro Dad. Okay. And also with him, he's also a great model for writing books, kid books, and devotional books. And he's a person that I look in high esteem, that I try to go ahead and imitate some of the things that he does because he's all positive.
Okay, now for the viewers, if some of y'all that don't know football, Tony Dungy is a retired coach from the Colts. Okay, all right, y'all heard me? Yes. So you see him a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about Tony is that he's not too hard to find. If you keep your ear to the ground here in Tampa, he definitely does make his public appearances. And he's a person who definitely, his wife too, Lauren, you can kind of keep up with them. We kind of work in the same circles because of the fact that they're Christians. They're also part of the All-Pro Dad. I support the All-Pro Dad. I'm one of the co-captains. So I do see him from time to time. If I don't see him, I see a lot of his representatives. And that's one of the great things about being an all-pro dad is that we kind of work in the same circle.
So break it down more about the All Pro Dad.
Yeah, All Pro Dad is an organization that Tony Dungy sponsors, and he's really the face of the organization. And with All Pro Dad, it does a monthly meeting once a month where you can bring your child to get breakfast with other dads and get a chance to mingle with other dads. Also, part of All Pro Dad is being a foster parent if you are interested in doing that, which I am a foster parent here.
Oh, you
Yeah, yeah.
are? We do fostering up here.
Yeah, so that's one of the great things about the organization is that Tony Dungy, he's the one who heads it, and I have foster kids, and I really got those kids because of his foundation, and it's been a blessing on both sides. So I've been a foster parent for the last just about 2.5 years now, and it's been a real blessing in me and my wife's and my entire life, my entire family's life.
Yeah, when we foster, I started learning how to not hold in the pain of them leaving, like releasing it quicker. Because before, in the beginning, we've had 13 kids in our home for the past 3 years. 13 kids.
Wow.
So every time a child comes, we don't know how long they're staying, but we give them our all, our love and everything. And we pray over them. We let our pastor pray over them because, you know, the pastor is the shepherd of the house. He's going to pray as well. You know what I mean? Besides us, because we don't know what's going to happen when they leave our home.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, okay. And now I keep their names on my tongue and I pray for them every night to make sure that the covering is still on them just because they're not in our home no more. But it's just sad, but it's also a blessing having them come in because God trusts us that much with his precious cargo. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. And it's something that really is understated. And it's really great that you've had so many kids in your home and taking great care of them. It's one of those things that's not for everybody, but it is something that's a real joy when you really enjoy what you're doing. It's great that you look after those kids. It sounds as if you invest a lot into them and putting your own personal feelings and love into it, which is something that we do too, which makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you left GEICO, I see that you do sports now. Yeah. How long has that been? What's going on with that? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I co-host the Alan and Aaron Sports Talk radio show, and that started in March of this year. And it's a show that I do now for fun. You never know where things can go from there. But we talk about sports. We talk about things that are happening today. And also it kind of blends into life too, sports and life. And that's something that we do for fun, me and Aaron. And we usually have a weekly podcast that we usually put out every week, if not every week, every 2 weeks, and gives you up to date on sports, things that are happening in the world. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing it.
I know I love doing this podcast, and I'm so happy football's back. I'm so happy football's back. Who's your team? You know, we have to get that out the way. Who's your team?
My team is the Bucks, my Buccaneers, and I'm so happy football is back too. I know there hasn't been much fans in most of the games. The first game had 16,000, one had 500, some had none. But I'm so glad it's back because, hey, you know, I know this pandemic has really shook the world. It's nice that we're starting to get to a little bit of normalcy and getting football back. I think it's a great thing.
I hear you on that one. Yes, trust me. I was like, okay, can we get in the stadium for the Ravens next month?
Yeah.
I was like, let me find out. Because last year in September, we was in Baltimore for the game. You know, they lost that one. But it was great being in Baltimore for the first time. I usually drive through it, but not stay. We stayed that whole weekend and had a blast. And seeing the stadium lit up at night purple, that was...
It's just football is just a great sport. And you read my mind because me and my son on my birthday, which is October 4th, the Bucks are supposed to be playing on that day. And I already told my wife that I'm thinking about going to that game if I'm allowed to go, you know, mask and everything. And she already said, well, you're going to be exposed. And she kind of gave me that talk already. But I'm still on the fence about going or not.
Look, we covered by the blood, right? We covered by the blood. Look, if they open up, I have the mask, the gloves. I'll be like, I'm good. I got everything. Can we go in?
Yes, right. That's day 6. That's right.
Look, you only live once. Let's go. Headbanger. Let's go.
Right.
So since you retired from GEICO, what else you got in the mix? What's in the works behind the scenes?
Well, definitely the book just released, Sweet Poompy. I do have a devotional book that's coming out later this year, and that devotional book does include an interview with Tony and Lauren Dungy. I'm finishing up that book. That's one of the directions that God has led me to do, is to kind of finish up the devotional book. It's a big project because it's 365 days in a year, and every day my job is to inform you, but also keep you interested and keep reading. So that's coming out later this year. I also have a follow-up sales book from Sell Your Little Heart Out. That's another book that's going to be coming out later this, probably early next year, rather than later this year. And that's called The Ambitious Sales Pro. So I am working on those 2 books, and that's keeping me real busy.
Oh, tell the people about Shark Tank, because you was on Shark Tank, and tell them people. I won't surprise it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the great thing about the Ambitious Sales Pro is going to give you a great information on if you want to go on Shark Tank and pursue getting a deal. This is the book that you really want to read, because I got a chance to interview Damon John. His insight with my sales experience will come up with a great game plan that's going to really help you get into Shark Tank and do really well against, the 4 or 5 investors that are going to determine whether your business gets to the next level. And there's a game plan that I have for you, even if you're not a person that's really, a person that really likes to get in front of the camera. I'm going to help you and guide you where you're going to be successful and you do great on that show.
Okay. Have you been in touch with him lately?
I haven't. He just released the book, so I shout out to him. The name of the book is Power Shift. So kudos to Damon John for his new book release. I haven't been in touch with him recently due to COVID. I know that he usually comes to Tampa, usually when a book is released, and he was here in Tampa early in the year. Due to COVID and things like that, I had personal schedule. I wasn't able to meet up with him. But Damon John's a great guy to follow, and he's a down-to-earth guy from Queens, New York. And if you haven't purchased his book, Power Shift, go ahead and do that. It's a new book that's out. And also the other books that he has, the Power Broke and Rise and Grind. If you haven't read those are great books to read too if you're a salesperson or an entrepreneur, or a combination of the 2.
Thank you for that. And yes, congratulations on your release and his release. Now, question, how many books have you released?
I've released so far 2, Sell Your Little Heart Out and Sweet Poompy. Those are the 2 books that I've released so far. Definitely more to come. I love writing, and I like to bring something different on every book.
Okay. Now, how can the people find you?
Best way to find me is through Facebook on my Alan and Aaron Sports Talk Radio page. Just send me a message there. If you're interested in hearing the show, that's a way to get in contact with me. Also, I'm very easy to get in contact with through that same website, Alan Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show on Facebook. Send a message, and you can get an autographed copy of any of my books there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, hold on. I think I have a thing. Oh, what are your links? Links for your books.
Okay, the Sell Your Little Heart Out, you can get that right on Amazon. And Sweet Poompy is a new release that's actually not available on Amazon just yet. That one, you just have to shoot me a message, and I'll explain to you how to get an autographed copy. It'll only be $20, and you get an autographed copy directly from me through the COVID. That's the easiest way right now. And then you're going to also be able to get it personalized, which is nice too. So if you have an interest in getting that book, which is a kid's book, personalized to some other kid or gift or someone else, you just let me know and I'll get a chance and make sure that it gets done.
Yes, I was just showing them you did mine.
Yeah, thank you.
So, with you being home, what else do you do besides writing? What else are you out there doing? What are you doing with the community besides the fostering?
Besides the fostering, definitely with me, what I also like to do with the community is get involved in events. And I know there's not too many events now because of COVID, but the nice thing is now that I have more free time, I'm able to go ahead and see, the homeowner association events. Also, I get a chance to check and see local events that are happening that affect the community. I was going to attend one of the Black Lives Matter protests peacefully. I know a lot of people have different opinions on that, but unfortunately that event turned into something that was more of a riot than a protest, and I wasn't able to attend that. But I do like to be a person that here in Tampa and Brandon like to be an influence. So when there are meetings and there are events that affect change in a positive direction, I'm usually there and keep my ear to the ground and be there. So you might see me there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Talking about the Black Lives Matter real quick, it said that things happen outside of what it should. It's simply supposed to be a protest. It's not supposed to be looting. It's not supposed to be anything violent going on. It's us taking a stand and saying enough is enough. And it saddens me when it goes beyond that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Don't let them look at us and give another reason why they don't like us.
No, I couldn't agree more. And that was one of the events I was going to attend. The night before, I got the notice that they was going to have this protest, peaceful protest, and I was planning on attending. Later in that evening, they ended up looting a K&G, which is a store that I used to shop at when I was employed with GEICO for dress clothes. It's an urban, store where you can get things that are Black owned. And they ended up looting and rioting the store, and I couldn't support that. And that's the thing where I want people to understand that you can disagree and do it peacefully. Like me and Aaron, we disagree on political aspects from left and right all the time, but we don't argue. We don't demean each other. We're respectful. And I think by doing that, he listens more to me and I also listen more to him. You can disagree with somebody and not be disagreeable. And I think that's what people need to understand is that keep the protests peaceful, because when you start looting and rioting, that's not what this event is for. They're not for that. And I can't support definitely a cause when you're doing stuff like that.
I agree 100%, because the simple fact is, how can we enlighten people on our situation? And if they never walked in our shoes, how can we enlighten them if all they see is looting and all they see is violence? So the simple fact is, the change starts with us, and it starts at home. So I agree. I don't stand behind the looting or anything else. I'm like, that's not what we're standing for. So it's sad, the mentality that's going on right now, and the ignorance.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just, and you're not going to beat hate with more hate. And, Martin Luther King Jr. said it the best: hate doesn't beat hate, love beats hate. And that's the real thing about it. That doesn't ever change. And that's where people need to understand that there's a line when you disagree with something. Hey, I'm a Black man in America, and my son is growing up in this. He's going to follow me. He's got my same name. So I want to look out for him. I want him to live a peaceful life. I don't want him to be in a situation that he cannot handle just by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the bottom line is, that's the awareness that I want to bring, is that, hey, I'm not doing this really for myself. I'm doing it for my kids. And when I see something that's injustice, I got to stand up for it, but it's also got to be done peacefully and respectfully.
I agree. I really do agree. Yeah. So have you had that discussion with your son?
Unfortunately, I have. I feel that I've, as a dad, I have to inform my son that, hey, son, unfortunately, this is exactly how I'm telling him, that you might be in a situation in life that you don't agree with, and you might be, unfortunately, in a situation where you might be in trouble, but I want you to be here tomorrow. So even if you don't agree with what the treatment is, just comply and just try to diffuse. Do not try to be combative, even if you don't agree. We will get through it afterwards, but make sure that you're here tomorrow. And I had to have to talk with him because if I don't, it might be too late. And I don't want to put my son in that situation. I had to tell him, unfortunately, these are the things that do happen in life, that you sometimes are in a situation you don't agree with, and you find yourself like, how did I get up here? But just diffuse.
Yeah, you're right. It is. We've had Miles, the youngest, is 10 next week. And we had to have a conversation with him. Jalen's 15. Elijah already dealt with it, and he's 23. So yeah, it's a different talk.
It is, and it's sad. I mean, me as a foster parent, I have taken in kids that, white, Spanish, Black, and
Yeah.
we have to have this talk. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it's not the big population of people. It's a small population of people that, unfortunately, that's all they see is you being another color, another culture, and there might be some hate because of that. And I just want people to understand that as a dad, it's scary. And that's what people, I don't think fully understand, is that it's scary, because imagine your kid is going out there doing his normal day and routine, and he can run across someone or somebody or group of people that can alter his life.
Yeah. And alter everybody's life.
Yeah, and it's scary. I do agree with what the players are doing. They're using their voices in a positive direction. They have the right to stand or not to stand. And I know people might say, hey, that's not right. But the only way you're going to affect change is if you bring awareness to it first. And that's the thing.
Exactly. Because here's my thing. They're not disrespecting the flag. They're not disrespecting anyone. They're taking a knee. They're saying enough is enough. They're saying we stand in unity with this being stopped. And for them to boo the Chiefs when they did this, when they came together, I was so disgusted. They would be the first ones to do PETA for an animal, but not for a human being. Yeah. I just don't get it. I really don't. I'm like, how is an animal? And I'm not saying the animal's life is not important, but over a human being, yes, it very much is. And they still take it as whatever. But the animals, don't do nothing with the dogs. Don't do nothing with the cat. You know what I mean? It's like, hello? I don't get it. So when they did that, when the NFL finally, because remember when this happened a few years ago, off with his head, he gotta go. He's disrespecting the government and blah, 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 blah. Now you're joining forces.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that our society has gotten to this point. It really is sad, but you're allowed to protest in a peaceful way. And that's why I think people are really getting caught up in, the players are not kneeling because of the military. They're not disrespecting the military. In fact, Colin Kaepernick, when he started kneeling, he asked the Green Beret, hey, if I kneeled, would you find it, offensive? And he said no. And then he went on and asked them, well, what if I sat down? He said, well, the Green Beret did say, if you sat down, I would find that more offensive than if you just kneeled. And that's where it all started. So it's not, and he got the advice from a Green Beret. It's not disrespecting the military. That's what people want to wrap it up and throw it in, it's disrespecting the military. No, you got to find out why they're kneeling. Why are you kneeling when the flag comes on? And that's where it takes a lot of awareness that people have to put themselves aside and listen to the other party. I think that's where the problem in our society is, that people always want to give an advice on where they're benefiting first before the person who has a problem. No, you got to do the opposite. You got to listen to the person who has a problem and put your feelings, your thoughts, and your benefits in the back seat. And then you'll solve a lot of problems.
Exactly. And also listen and don't reply. They want to respond right away. They already got the answer. They already got what they want to say. But So you really wasn't listening. You know what I mean?
You gotta listen. You gotta listen.
On my post a couple of days ago, I was like, are you listening or you just ready to reply?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
because we all have those moments.
and that's what has gotten me successful in sales is that I always listen to the person that I was trying to do business with first. I always listened to everything they had to say and the manner in what they said to get the true meaning of what they're trying to convey before I thought about a reply, before I thought about what I'm going to benefit. And then you'll be a lot more successful that way.
Now, you were top #1 in the country with GEICO, 37,000 sales to be right?
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was up until I left, which is this year, early this year, 2020, March of 2020, and 37,000 sales. And man, I just can't fathom that 20 years ago this journey started, and that's where I would end up having 37,000 plus sales, and just take one customer at a time. That's all you have to do.
That is awesome. Congratulations on that. So what else do you have in store besides the books? What else you got cooking? I know you got something else.
Besides the podcast and the books, what I definitely want to be is I want to be a person who affects change in a positive direction. And that is being more vocal in the community. I think that's where I'm headed to next. You know, also making some more charitable donations to help out organizations that are doing things in a positive direction. I see myself getting more involved in that. Definitely being more involved in All Pro Dad and using my time to bring peace to the world, and also using my time to bring healing to the world as well. I think we're here on purpose, and God has put you in position to do certain things. And I believe that's the next step that the journey that God is pulling me to, is to be more of a community activist in a positive direction.
Okay. Tell the people what you want them to know that they already don't know.
Wow, that's a great question. You know, my life is pretty much almost an open book. But what I want people to know about Alan is that he's a motivated guy, but he's also a really great, peaceful ambassador. I am an ambassador of peace, first and foremost. I don't think people understand that. Not only do I love being a parent, I also love peace, where you can go out in your house and enjoy life every day without worry about judgment, without worry about someone looking at you in a bad way or things of that nature. I'm a person who's very peaceful. I don't think people get that most of the time, but I enjoy life. And I think life will put you in different positions to get to the next level. You're only on this life for a certain time. It's borrowed time, and you got to make the most of it.
Amen on that one. I know that's right. Go for it all and don't stop. People, when do you sleep? I was like, when my head hits the pillow. They was like, you was just up at 3. I was like, yep. And I went back to sleep after I prayed and everything else and checked on the internet, anything I needed. And then I'm back off and I go right back to sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you got to have your hand in many pots. So being right now 2020, and we know with this virus, it has tied our hands a lot, unfortunately to say, because we can't do what we want to do right now. We can't travel too much and everything. Now you're in Tampa. Aren't you guys in hurricane season right now?
It is hurricane season right now. It's raining a lot. And you could tell that these storms are starting to pick up, because this last week or two, it pretty much rained on and off for the last couple of weeks. Hot, rain, hot, and more rain. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how do you balance family life with your business life?
Definitely, I try to incorporate the two, meaning when I'm doing a podcast, I definitely like to have my kids not in the same room with me, but close enough where they can hear, so they can kind of put their 2 cents in after I'm done. I also, my son, he loves football. So we get to talk about certain topics about football. And he says, hey, you should go ahead and talk about this in your show next time. And I say to myself, you know, that's great. That's a great idea. Sweet Poompy was a book that me and my son worked on together. It wasn't something that I could take all the credit for. He helped write that book, and think about it. So I incorporate my kids into everything in my family life too. And you'll see that in the devotional book too. I talk a lot about family, a lot about personal details, and a lot about serious details too, not just fluff. I talk about, you know, things that people might be going through, depression, unfortunately, drug use or drug selling. I talk about that too in the devotional book. These are things that are part of society. And I feel just like my son, if I don't inform you about what's going on or help you in all areas, then I'm really not leaving everything on the table to really help you out throughout my experience.
Yeah, that's true. Depression's hitting a lot of people right now because of this virus. Depression, divorce rates, suicidal rates.
Yeah.
It's sad because there's no outlet, or you're stuck in a house and you can't go anywhere, and you're ready to go insane and things like that. So how you guys been getting through this pandemic? Like what have you guys been up to?
That's a great question. What we've done as a family is, you know, we're at home. There's a lot of projects around the house that I feel that I put off while I was working all that overtime and work. So now I get a chance to do a lot of those projects around the house, paint that room that you put off for many years, organize a room or your closets that you didn't do for many, many years. Then also outside work, and also working on cars too. I have a couple of cars that I work on that too. So I've been occupying my time by getting caught up on a lot of, you know, just everyday projects. And believe it or not, those things will get you busy. It'll keep you busy and it'll keep your mind occupied. And then when you finish one project, think about completing another project. Yeah, it'll go by a lot better for you.
Shamark says, has your faith ever been challenged as a salesperson who by nature is competitive, persistent, and sometimes personally motivated?
Yes, my faith has been tested, you know, unfortunately in sales. Where it has been tempted is being too ambitious, meaning somebody will want you to give them a discount, or somebody would want you to do something that's unethical, or you feel an urge to make that extra sale because you might get ahead to beat your competitor who's right behind you with as many sales as you or close to you. My faith has been tested, unfortunately, a lot in sales. But I always thought to myself, I'll give you a quick story. Me and another competitor was getting really close to the end of the year, and it was very clear that it was either going to be a female actually, or me being the number one salesperson for the year to date. And I was approved to work overtime only 4 hours on a day, and that was it. And everybody expected me to be there almost every hour of the day, but I was only approved to work 4 hours. I came in around 4 o'clock and I was approved to work till 8 p.m. When I came in at 4 o'clock, all of my coworkers were letting me have it. Man, where were you all day? You should have been here at 9 o'clock in the morning. You should have been here early. Where were you all day? And I told them I was only approved to work from 4 to 8. And they were like, well, if I was in your shoes and I was going to be number one in the company, I'd have been here, 9 o'clock. And I said, well, hey, I was only approved to work 4 hours. And they were razzing me real hard. And what ended up happening was I did miss being number one by about 18 sales. But what happened about 2 months later was that the CEO of the company pulled me aside when we had an annual meeting. And he said, you know what, Alan, I pulled the numbers and you end up being the number one salesperson in the entire company ever. So it just goes to show you that had I done something unethical to be number one, it would have ruined my reputation. And I may not have gotten that blessing when my CEO told me you were the all-time top salesperson ever in the company. That's when I first found out about it. I had no idea until he pulled me aside and said, I pulled the numbers and you're the number one guy all time in our company. And that was, to me, a much bigger blessing than being number one in the year, not to put that down at any point. But it just goes to show you that when you get tempted to do something unethical, it's the way of the devil kind of pulling you to do something unethical because it'll come back to bite you a lot harder. And that just goes to show you that you had to stay forward in your faith. And I did things by the right book. I said, I'm either going to be number one or I'm not. It's all up to God, but I'm not going to cheat the system to be number one. And it ended up being tenfold better because I didn't. Yeah.
I know that's right. And you know, GEICO will fire you real quick, fast, in a hurry for that. They be like, you lied. You're fired. Pack your bag. Let's go. But no, I appreciate that because it's what we do. You know what I mean? It's our name. It's our name on the line. It's who we are. And then you don't want to, because whoever we're ministering to, they're watching. And whoever we don't know is watching is watching. You know what I mean? And you never know.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. I mean, I know that it's a lot easier said than done coming in at 4 o'clock. Everybody in your team is telling you should have been here at 8 o'clock in the morning. And they were really razzing me about it too. They were making me try to feel bad about it. But I knew that this was what I was approved for, and I wasn't going to go past that. And it was going to be, that's the way it was going to end up. I was going to do things the right way, and I wasn't going to try to get anything unethical. So yes, this is one of many stories I have of somebody trying to get an extra discount, or, hey man, can you give me that extra money off so I buy a policy from you? And it's been a lot of stories where people kind of pull you in another direction, and you got to think to yourself, is that one sale worth you ruining your entire career? Because people are not going to say, hey, he was a great salesperson for many, many years. They're going to think that last opportunity you took and cross the line.
Yep. And it's also, give me that hookup.
Yeah.
No, you don't pay a hookup for the polo and he'll figure that you wear. No, why I feel you. I really
Yeah.
So is there anything else you would like them to know or what to look out for coming from you?
Yeah, definitely look out for the Unusual Devotional. I think it's going to be a book that you're really going to enjoy. Also, if you haven't done so, please support and just like my page at Alan and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. I know with COVID going on, it's been hard for me to get live interviews. I have a press pass, but that's a direction I'm going to definitely do, is get those interviews with those athletes that you probably never thought I can get an opportunity to get to. But when this COVID thing passes and they get green light, I want to make sure that I give you great content. It's not going to be all political, but I am going to let people speak their mind. If they have something a voice, they have an opportunity, they have a book or anything that they want to promote and talk about, or a cause, or anything of that nature that they feel that the public needs to know about, I'm going to definitely give them the opportunity to. So look out for the Alan and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show and the Ambitious Sales Pro that's coming out. That's a follow-up to Sell Your Little Heart Out. It's going to be some great tips that, hey, I'm about the only guy that can help you get on Shark Tank and win and get a deal and not ask for what.
Okay, I seen the picture with you and the Shark Tank guy. I was like, okay. Now you said you have the press pass?
Yeah, I have a press pass. It was a real blessing. I'm not able to use it yet, but I do have a press pass, so I'm approved to do interviews. Once the green light is there, this happened during the COVID, and that's another opportunity that you have during this downtime. Try to help your craft out. That's one of the things I did during this downtime during COVID is, hey, I really need to get a press pass and get credentials because of all this craziness that's going along. I know my place inside. I am a Black man. I don't want to be in a position where I don't have my paperwork or things available to me. I don't want people to take more than just my word that I am legit. So that's the way the press pass came into play. Unfortunately, you got to have your things in order, and that's what you need to do in this life. Have things in order.
Yes. Now the press pass is for the NFL.
Press pass for anywhere. The NFL, Major League Baseball, tennis, golf, and these are all sports that I'm interested in. And definitely boxing too. If Antonio Tarver is listening, I'd like to have you on my show. I know you're here in Tampa, and definitely when time is right, come on down. We'd love to, Alan Aaron, would love to help you with your boxing career. I know you're promoting a new book that's coming out soon. And definitely you might want to talk about the Roy Jones Jr. Tyson fight. I know you want the winner of that.
Woo, let me tell you. I already voted for Iron Mike because did you see his workout videos?
Oh yeah, Iron Mike looks great. You know, he's definitely looks like the Mike Tyson of old, and he's putting in the work. And it's gonna be interesting. I know that when he fights Roy, I know Roy is thinking that it's just gonna be exhibition, but I know Mike, he doesn't have he only has a go. There is no between. So he better come prepared, Roy Jones Jr. Otherwise, it's gonna be lights out.
Look, he better not be shucking and driving up in there. He better be throwing some punches and ducking because Mike Tyson was like, oh yeah, I got a lot to let off. I was like, whoa. I don't want to be Roy. And the workout video when his trainer's like, pa, 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 and he was like, ooh, I felt that through I was like, ooh.
He hasn't lost a step. And Tyson, man, that guy is one of the best fighters that you can ever see in his prime, man. He was unbelievable. And it's like a skill set. I don't think he lost it.
No, he just sharpened it. And he got the wrong people out of his group and the wrong people out of his ear. He's hearing them very clear. And he was like, he needs to make a statement. Poor Roy Jones, he's going to make a statement on him.
Yeah, for Roy Jones' sake, he better come in prepared because I know when that bell rings, Tyson's going to be ready to go.
Did you see his training video? Roy Jones is moving very slow. And I'm like, dude, you can't be moving slow with Tyson.
Yeah, he's got to do better than he did against Tarver. That's for sure.
So, since we talked about this past, have you met Ray Lewis? That's I'm Ravens. You already know I'm Ravens. I would love to meet Ray Lewis. His dance and everything coming out on the field and
It's interesting you just mentioned that. I haven't actually met Ray Lewis, but I was actually at one of his events where Ray Lewis was there. He basically promotes a football team. And what ended up happening is I was there. There was a lot of other teams that were there too. I was kind of showing my son, hey, this is something that you're going to be involved in next, playing actual football sports. And Ray Lewis was there on the field. This is pre-COVID. This is me getting a press pass. And yeah, he was there. He actually lives in Lakeland. So Lakeland is only that's where the GEICO office is. So he's not far away from me. And yeah, props to Ray Lewis. If Ray Lewis is listening, I would love for you to be on our show too.
I would love to meet you, Ray. I really would.
Yeah, he was there. Actually, Cam Newton was there at that event too, as well as Deion Sanders. So that's the great thing about Florida is that if you keep your ear to the ground, you might be in a situation where you show up and then boom, people who you don't expect to be there are there. I was there to try to get an interview with Deion Sanders, and lo and behold, Cam Newton was there as well as Ray Lewis. So that was great that they were there. They were all supporting their teams. Ray Lewis, Cam Newton. It's great that they get involved, and these are the things that people don't see on camera. That a lot of these guys do great things in the community, and if you are out there in the community and you follow these things, and you might run across somebody like a Cam Newton just doing everyday stuff,
See, my opinion on Cam lately has been very, because I was like, okay, is he washed up, or is Cam really just putting on an act right now to get out of his contract? What's going on, right? Yeah. Then all of a sudden, he signed to New England Patriots. Yeah. Our arch enemies. That Patriots is everybody's enemy. And Brady now is on your team. So I was loving the game, watching him fumble and everything else. And sacking and throwing the ball away. No offense. Yeah. So I still don't like the Patriots. Nobody in my house likes the Patriots.
Oh, okay.
To have Cam now as the head quarterback for the Patriots, interesting, isn't it, when you say?
It is. It's very interesting. If you'd have told me that Tom Brady would be coming to the Buccaneers,
Right?
I believed you. But it seemed like it was just a meeting of the minds, and it was a great opportunity for both sides. I think Brady wanted to play more, and I don't think the Patriots wanted to pay him more. I think they wanted to pay him at a discount, and I think that kind of offended Brady. And Brady felt like, hey, I've given you so much, and this is how you treat me. So I think that's what happened with Brady. He took his talent someplace else. I just think that that's what happened. I think they wanted to give him a discount that Brady was too big of a discount that Brady wasn't willing to accept. And that's why he's here with the Bucs.
Him, and also that stealer move that Brady did with Gronkowski.
Yeah.
You know that was a setup. That was planned. He was like, yo, homeboy, I'm about to take us over there. I need you to retire now. So when I go over there, I'm bringing you with me. Come on. And you saw that little clip that he had a pic of him and Gronk. They was like, I got him. You know that was planned. Brady did that smoothly. If it wasn't for him, or it had to be his agent. But those two, come on. He ain't going to go nowhere without his boy Gronk.
No, that's right. I think the two of them, I don't know if they planned it, but I think they
allegedly,
they talked about it prior to when Brady was with the Patriots. I think the last year or two, Brady's a smart guy. He could kind of read between the lines and see how the treatment has been. And I think him and Gronk talked about it like, hey, if I leave, you leave. And that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And then he made that little clip like, got him.
Everybody started following him.
Like Brady, but I was like, okay. Nice move, Grasshopper. Nice move. Like, yeah, let me school you on who's real smart up in here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything you would like to say to your fans?
Definitely. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for listening, purchasing, the books, Sweet Poompy, Say a Little Heart Out, following my show, Alan and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. I really appreciate all the support and fans that I do have. I don't take it lightly. I'm a person that does take people and things to another level of appreciation. And I really appreciate you listening and supporting Alan Alford and doing positive things. You help me be motivated to do the next thing that can affect the community and people in a positive direction.
Oh, well, we thank you for coming on. I'll keep in touch with you. You gotta let me know when the next book drops.
Absolutely. And we got to do that in-house interview soon. We got to do that,
When everything uplifts.
Yes, when everything gets better. I would love to go ahead and do an in-house interview in Buffalo. I mean,
I might be coming down to you. I need warmth.
Yeah, definitely we got plenty of that. One thing about Florida, it gets hot. If you're not...
I love the heat. I love the heat. I don't like the bugs, but I love the heat.
Yeah, so you're going to get heat. That's for sure.
Do you walk outside and there's gators on your lawn or in your pool?
Not where I'm at, in the area that I'm at in Brandon. It's not that they're not here. It's just that you have to be more closer to a body of water. And I'm not really near a lake where I'm at. If you are near a lake, yes, you have to be careful. And that's one thing about Florida, a lot of people kind of take for granted. They don't think about, especially people from out of state. When you're near a body of water, always assume gators. And it might seem real easy for somebody in Florida to know that, but people from other states don't know that. If you're coming to a lake to do some fishing, always assume gators. Where I'm at, there's not too many lakes near I'm at, but I'll give you an example of only about 5 or 6 miles away from me, there was a video of a gator walking across the interstate. And I saw the video and and the location of the video where it was shot, and that's only about 5 miles away from me. So there are gators here in Florida, and you just got to be careful.
Look, it'd be like, time out, I'm gone, gotta go. And I tell people, zigzag, zigzag, because they can run. There's some speedy little suckers if they go straight, but if you zigzag, they can't turn too quick because of their tail. I was like, look at here, y'all better listen.
You got to be careful, and believe it or not, there was a gator in that little GEICO lake that we had in the front of the building, and me and a bunch of people saw it, and then the next day they had a bunch of "watch out for gator" signs all over the property. But that's what happens here. There's gators. They love the water, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of a little bit not too, how do I say, relax when I go by a lake, because when you step into a lake, it's dark. You can't see all the way to the bottom. You could be actually stepping on top of a gator, and that can happen.
No. If I ever move down south, it will be strictly pools. Okay.
Yeah.
No. If it ain't the clear water like Bahamas and Jamaica,
yeah.
No. You won't catch me in no water. No. I have family that lives in the South. My grandmother's born and raised from Pensacola, Florida. So when we visit, flying squirrels, I'm ducking. I'm like, yo, what is that? Oh, I gotta go. They be like, oh, that was a bat. No, I gotta go. I'm like, I be like, gotta go. I can't. Yeah, no. Does your area have the flying squirrels?
I haven't seen too many flying squirrels, but I have seen some snakes. We get snakes here. One of the things I've learned, and we also have hawks. One of the things I've learned about seeing wildlife here in Florida is don't mess with them. Respect. You respect them, they usually will respect you. There was actually a snake in one of my properties that I had that literally lived there for 10 years from the time that we stayed in that house. And he was always hanging out by the shrubs, by the pool. And I would always not see him every day. It was one of those intermittent things. I would see him 1 week, not see him for a couple of weeks, then see him again. But he was a pretty big snake, and he never tried to attack me, which he had opportunities to, and I never went ahead and killed him. We just had one of those mutual respect. I respect you, you respect me, and that's how it went.
You are good, because I would have been like, okay. Cool to get rid of this snake. No.
Yeah.
Alan, you good? Now I've dealt with foxes, possums, raccoons in the backyard.
Okay.
Like, this wildlife in the backyard. He was like, this is Animal Planet, you can say.
You just you can see all of those in Florida in a wooded backyard. Raccoons, armadillos. We have bobcats here too, but I haven't seen one physically myself, but I know they are people. We have hogs. You got to be careful here in Florida, that's for sure. You don't want to jump in the woods without a flashlight. You don't want to jump in the lake without taking extra super precaution.
Pool.
Yeah.
No, anytime down south where it's warm, we do pool. We don't.
Yeah, that's the safest bet is do a pool.
I can't see the bottom. I'm not in it. Long Island now is having shark sightings.
Yeah, it's sharks and dolphins. I went to Clearwater Beach. There was a dolphin that was actually swimming very shallow to the water. He was just kind of swimming around past us. I don't know if it was a real hot day. I don't know if he kind of wanted to be closer to the shore rather than out in the water, but he hung around where the people were for a while and everybody was taking pictures. And this was a dolphin. He would just come up and down and yeah.
I want to swim with the dolphins. We were supposed to, but quarantine hit. But I would love to swim with the dolphins. And I always know when dolphins are in the water, there's no sharks because they could kill sharks real quick. As you can see, I'm a nut. I like to read and do background searches, checks on, I like to know about the animals, what animals and everything. But yeah, I don't mess with snakes. I don't mess with sharks. I don't mess with alligators. No, I don't do that. No.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to go to Gatorland. I've been to Gatorland. It's in Orlando. You get a chance to see all.
And I told them they lost their cock and picking mine. I'm not going to Gatorland. I was like, what? Man. And Shamark was trying to talk me into that when we went down to Miami. I was like, dude, you are bugging. I'll do parachute sailing in the ocean because I know how to swim. I will do snorkeling. I will not ever do a gator thing because I heard one of them fans broke one of them things and you're gonna be stuck out there. Nah, dude. I was like, miss me with that one.
This one in Orlando was well mannered. It was definitely a lot safer. You can bring your kids and things, but there was a lot of gators there. But they did keep the gators, away from you. But you could see them. You could definitely see plenty of gators. And there was a guy who did a show that actually wrestled one of the gators. I mean, I don't know how brave you have to do to get in there with the ring with the gator, but he did. And he taught you a lot about the gators too. But yeah, that was a great show. I enjoyed Gatorland. We went earlier this year. Yeah.
Now I came to it. Now, just one last question. If you could talk to the teenagers now that are in school, what would your tips be to them?
I would definitely tell them to enjoy the time that you're in school because it goes by fast. Also, I would try to tell them, take school seriously because it is one of those things that I myself got a chance to really appreciate school once I got a lot older. And once I had went ahead and finished college, I appreciated school a lot more. And I really should have taken it more seriously when I was younger. My grades would have been a lot better. But taking the entire time, get involved in events, get involved into meeting other kids, other interests in school. And school is going to be what you make of it. If you want to go ahead and have a great time in school, you're going to have a great time if you apply yourself and do the best you can. That's what I would tell a teenager that's going to school, that enjoy the ride. Don't make it about, I hate school. Don't think about that every day. Enjoy the ride.
All right. Well, thank you, Alan, for stopping in and discussing everything with us. We look forward to your new book. And if you don't have his book already, you definitely want to go get it. It's for kids, it's supporting the cause, and it's also a blessing. Let's bless someone else. So I thank you, Alan, again. I'll be talking with you later and everything else. Thank you for tuning in with Celebration Life with Sunshine. Mwah, 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 mwah. Sunshine out. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thanks for having me. Many blessings.
Thank you for coming on.